We're live. Hi everyone. Welcome to Spill the Kopi with me, CuddlyBossLady. And sorry for the delay. We're still having some technical issues with the comment section. We can't always see it in our stream, but we will be able to see it elsewhere, and then we'll read it aloud and Colin will be able to answer your questions. So hi Colin, welcome to our little chat. Starting us off, I would love to know how did you get involved with the sport? I mean, open water swimming or anything. Yes, and we have, our neighbor is renovating quite enthusiastically, so we apologize for this sound if you can't. But yes, Colin, do tell us about how you started in the sport.
Yeah, so open water swimming is something that I've been involved with full time for the last probably 15 years. I've been working in open water swimming. But really it started like most people who are probably watching this. I started off as a club swimmer in the swimming pool, you know, training twice a day, do my goal at the weekends. But where I live in the UK, I live very close to a place called the Lake District. And here we have lots of beautiful lakes and rivers. So I used to come across here when I was younger and do some long distance swimming. And then after university, I went traveling overseas quite a while. I lived in New Zealand. And over in New Zealand, I started to really pick up on the open water swimming myself personally. Got into a lot of sea swimming over there, really great swim clubs in New Zealand. So really enjoyed that. And then when I came back to the UK, my job was involved in organizing mass participation running events. So big televised live TV with the BBC. I was managing international cross countries, half marathon runs, all these big televised events. And so this was in 2008, I was organizing these big, great running events. And because I was the swimmer of the company, one day I sort of pitched this idea to the directors to say, look, why don't we organize an open water swim event with the same razzmatazz as these big running events we put on? You know, have TV, have the big mass starts, you know, all the glitz and glamour. Because in the UK, back in 2008, we just didn't have any mass open water events. And so we put an event on called the Great North Swim, and that soon attracted 10,000 people to take part in that. And that was really one of the catalysts of open water swimming really growing in the UK. So I was really proud to be a part of that sort of initial the sort of catalyst for all this to happen. And then from there, I sort of continued to develop and grow these mass participation swims. We had a series of swims around the UK. And then from that, I got asked to work on the Olympics. And then I was the technical operations manager for London 2012 for the marathon swim event. So I moved down to London, and I was down there for a few years organizing that, which was just such a privilege. And that's where I met a lot of people from FINA and really got involved in more the international side of things when I was working on that event. And then after that, I set my own company after that, which specialized in open water swimming. But I continued to work for FINA, which I do to this day, which is great, involved in the open water swimming side. And during all that time, I've been a keen swimmer myself, so swimming English Channel, Gibraltar Straits. I've done a lot of winter swimming. So yeah, so I'm passionate from both sides of things, the organization side, as well as just actually taking part myself in competing.
I can't imagine doing the English Channel though. It's like cold. I mean, what was your experience? You did it was it a few years ago?
It was 2010, I think. 2010, 2012.
Cold, what was it like? It's England, isn't it? Always cold and rainy.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm a passionate winter swimmer, you know, because it's very cold over here. And I live literally next to a lake, a beautiful lake called Ullswater. So this is where I live and I swim year round. So if you live in the UK and you want to be a cold water swimmer, then you end up becoming a cold water swimmer as well. But the channel was, you know, if you're a long distance swimmer and you're from the UK, the channel's kind of a rite of passage. And
I can't imagine doing that.
You know, I'd done the same distance before I did the channel. You know, so I'd done a lot of long swims, but the channel was it meant a lot, you know, just from the historical point of view and just being a passionate open water swimmer, to do that, it just means a lot to you, you know. So when I did get to France, like,
It's part
scrambled
of the like you said, the rite of passage, right? It's one of
yeah,
those things that people just want to do, right? It's
yeah,
like climbing Everest in
I
a
think
sense.
so. And if you're involved in open water swimming here, a lot of people just ask you, have you swum the channel? So it's nice just to be able to say yes, you know. So
It's like, yes, I've
yeah,
done
then
it.
that's, you know, but no, it's, you know, I mean, I love open water swimming where it is today, and but what I really like as well is the historical aspect of open water swimming. And some people tend to sort of forget about, you know, all these amazing swimmers that have gone before us. So Captain Webb swam the Channel 1845, and you know, it meant so much to me to just be a part of that club and that group to have swum across.
I mean, they're the pioneers who made it possible for, I mean, everyone else
Yeah,
after that.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I wonder what sort of reactions they would have got that, when they decided like, all right, I'm going to swim the channel, just for the hell of it.
I know. I mean, at the time, people thought it was impossible, you know, and that's what you find with open water swimming is you get these amazing people who come along, and then they just move what's the impossible to the possible, and then there's the next challenge, whatever's, you know, the next hurdle, what's going to be impossible. For example, I was the first UK male to do an official ice mile. That's where you swim 1 mile in under 5 degrees without a wetsuit, no neoprene. And at the time, that was quite edgy. You know, it felt like I was doing something really extreme. But nowadays, there's tons of people doing ice mile in the UK. You know, it's
There's
just,
the World Championships as well, isn't there?
yeah, so all these things which, you know, feel like you're really pushing the edge. After a while, it becomes normal. You know, swimming the channel now is something where there's more and more people doing the channel every year. So it's wonderful to see the sport that's continuing to grow and evolve. And that's an exciting thing to be involved with.
I mean, how do you prepare for something like ice swimming?
Ice swimming, okay, this is quite an interesting topic at the moment. So you've got a guy called Wim Hof, and he's doing a lot of things at the moment, and it's all about his meditation, and he almost puts it across as if it's something which, you know, you have to be special at, change your body and become, you know, one with nature to do. To be honest, there's no magic to it. You just go down and swim every day in cold water. That's the trick. You know, it's just a case of getting in there regularly, and then after a while, you just start to understand how your body copes and how you recover, which is another important part about cold swimming. You know, I mean, the easy bit is there's, you know, the ice swimming world championships and the winter swimming world championships. I've been to several of those in Finland, Siberia, in the Arctic, in Russia, Latvia, and you know, often you're going in, you know, you're standing there on the ice with your dry robe on, and this voice says, "Take off your clothes." You take off your robe. You're standing off in -20 air temperature. You're swimming trunks, and then you have to climb down the icy steps into the water, and then you push off, and you're swimming in literally ice water, and you're going up and down this 25-meter ice pool, and you're not allowed to tumble turn, just touch turn. You can't feel your hands after, you know, quite a short time. You can't feel your feet. And if you're doing a 500-meter or kilometer swim in that temperature, it's very much muscle memory that's keeping you going at the end. But it's
Do
not
you
just
just tune out? I mean, mentally, you're like, okay, one hand in front of the other, or
yeah, it's at first it's controlling your breathing. You have to get your breathing under control. If you're breathing at sort of that high level, you're not going to last long. You know, you have to make sure you're getting the air out, and then the air comes back in again. And it's so easy when the water's so cold to try and hold your breath, and you've got to make sure you're pushing that air out. So yeah, the first thing is control the breathing, and then it's simple things. You know, when I'm doing a 1 kilometer in an ice pool or 500 meters, I'm counting my lengths. I'm making sure I know exactly where I am. Although it's a race, I tend not to think about it as a race. You know, I'm just very much focusing on my own swim, and then near the end, then I might sort of look around and see who's close to me and see if I'm going to push a bit more.
push yourself a little further?
Yeah, but it's very much a personal challenge. And then if you happen to come out with a medal at the end of it, then great, but that's not really my focus. So yeah, so I would say for those people just starting off, it's about Do you sing the frozen shot? Yeah, I mean, on the channel swim, for longer swims, then I do a lot of singing to myself. But on the ice swims, I'm very much, I mean, everything is basically starting to shut down when you swim. So I'm very much focused on my stroke and what's going on when I'm doing those swims. But yeah, and then the next important thing is the recovery. When you're in the ice water, you feel amazing. You get out the water, and it's the best feeling in the world. You just feel invincible. But once you get out the ice water, your core temperature continues to drop. And it can be for up to an hour, that's just going down. So you've got to be pretty strict with yourself. As soon as you get out, you have to get yourself dried, warm, and then the recovery can be quite tough after, you know, the real extreme swims.
I mean, what sort of, I mean, and it sounds terrible, but what do you go through? Instead of the side of chips. Chips is important. We always talk about food.
Well, yeah, it's actually, it's a legal requirement in the UK that after you swim, you have to eat some cake. So
I approve of such things.
That's just the way it is, you know.
Do you have a favorite cake that you like to refuel yourself with after?
I like a bit of carrot cake.
Oh, healthy.
Yeah. Well, in name only, I think.
With like slather some cream cheese icing on it. Oh, I like that requirement. I think most of my teammates would approve.
Right. Well, that's the best thing about winter swimming, you know. If you get a bit of bioprene on yourself, so you know you have neoprene, then you have bioprene, and bioprene's just having a bit of extra weight. So that
I can manage
really,
that one.
Yeah, so that's really helpful in cold water swimming. You know, really
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Swim for the cake. Yes. One of my teammates, Sue, she was on one of our earlier live stream, a couple of our live streams, and she's a huge fan of cake.
Yeah, yeah.
So she says it's an essential part of our recovery process to have cake.
Well, Sue, if you're watching this, I agree completely. Very wise.
Yeah, she'll be really excited to hear that. I mean, like you said, on a regular basis, you live next to a lake and you get to swim that. Is it all year round that you get to swim, or? Yeah,
my motto is as long as you can break the ice, it's fine to swim in.
Okay.
So it's year round. I swim in there. I mean, right now in the UK, it's just, you know, it's just starting to come into autumn time now. The temperature's starting to drop, but I'm still taking clients into the water. I've got a group in about an hour's time, and for that group, I'm doing a bit of a wild swim where we do a nice swim along the shoreline. Then there's some rocks we jump off into the water, and it's starting to get a bit colder for clients, but still, for the clients, you know, they wear wetsuits, you know, wetsuit gloves, wetsuit booties. So they're fully kitted out because they're literally, most of them haven't been in open water before. So it's very much the introduction swim for them. But myself personally, I'm in the water all year round without a wetsuit. And really the health benefits that you get from that, it's amazing. You know, there's more and more studies being done about that. It's mental well-being is very important. So just swimming in cold water, there's a lot of people who've had depression and they've come off their medication just by swimming in cold water regularly. It's just that sort of that buzz and that lift you get from it.
Well, I remember reading some articles that they talk about how, circulation, it kind of stimulates circulation, and then, well, you were saying about breathing, right? You have to have controlled breathing. You have to know, and then you channel you focus, right? You can channel. Yeah. Your mind that way, which
so I'm beside my endless pool here, and I've turned off the ventilation so you can hear me better. So it's getting really warm in here, so I'm just going to dry myself as we go. There we go.
See, that's what it's like for us, you see, because we're in the tropics. So, you know, the whole idea of ice swimming to us is like, yeah, okay, not sure about that one. But I mean, we had some. Do you get a lot of jellyfish in the channel? I mean, I've read about the jellyfish and.
Yeah, the channel you can do. I mean, where I am here in the Lake District, there's no nasties at all in the water, which is great. So there's nothing that's going to bite you or kill you. So that's one of the good things about swimming in the UK. So yeah, at the channel, yes, you get a few jellyfish in the channel. With the cold water swimming stuff, generally where I swim, there's no nasties. It's often in lakes that way we have the ice, the sort of pool cut out of the ice. But yeah, so nothing to worry about. Salmon we do have in my lake. There's lots of salmon in Ullswater. Yeah, so lots of variety of fish in Ullswater.
Do they swim alongside you rather than you like smack into them, you know, as you go?
Yeah, I mean the wildlife just avoids you over here. You know, you tend not to see it too much. I think that's one of the nice things about being in the UK. Apart from the cold water, it's it's nice and friendly.
Do you like you know, catch a salmon as you go? And then
no, unfortunately not. No.
They probably
But I mean,
swim a lot faster than us.
Yeah, if anybody comes to the UK, I think what's interesting in the way the sport's developed over here, unlike some other countries, it's not just the masters swimmers or the club swimmers. There's a huge groundswell now of just people who would never have called themselves swimmers before. They've never been a swimmer when they're younger. And now there's all these open water swimming clubs and groups. And it's very much a social thing. So if you come over to the UK, literally, if you go on Facebook, wherever you are in the UK, there will be an open water swimming group for you to go along and have a dip with. So it's really developing like the ground up. So instead of the sort of the top level down, there's just thousands and thousands of people here who just love to go in, have a little potter around, swim up in the high tarns, we call them, which are the high lakes and the mountains, swim in the waterfalls, go in the rivers. So I think that's one of the nice difference which I've seen in the UK about the way that sports developed.
So we've noticed, like, even here, the growth of open water swimming has been, you know, slowly increasing. And in the UK, I think there was a couple of documentaries that I've seen, short ones, on why people have started open water swimming. And like you said, many were not ex-swimmers or not distance swimmers who were obviously involved in the sport in some capacity. They had just done it, like someone brought them along and they had a splash around, or they wanted to conquer a particular fear of being in the water or not being able to touch the floor, and then they just love it. They love the freedom of it, which is why I love it. You're just free. Right?
Yeah. And, you know, when I was working on the Olympics down in London, I lived in London for 2 years, and I was a member of the Serpentine Swimming Club. Now, right in the middle of London is Hyde Park. You know, you can see the city all around you, but it's a beautiful park. And in there, the Serpentine Swimming Club, they've been going for over 200 years. And for those 200 years, people have swum in the lake every day, year-round, without wetsuits. And it's a really strong community. And so it's amazing that there's the historical side here, but all these new swimmers coming in and finding these groups. So once people do their first event or their first little swim with somebody like myself, doing a guided swim, then they go out and discover it for themselves, and just every little bit of water around the UK, people are trying to swim.
Serpentine Swimming Club was one of. Did you organise a Serpentine? Isn't that London? I mean, city.
Serpentine is central London. Central London.
Yeah.
I'm the swim director for an event called the Serpentine Swim, and that's organised by London Marathon Events, who organise the London Marathon.
Ah, okay.
And so there we have 6,000 people every year go into the Serpentine, and we do the same.
How do you manage 6,000 people, man?
It's a lot of different waves. So we start off very early in the morning. There's 400 people going in the water. We have 30-minute gap, then another 400 goes in. So all through the day, we just have these waves and waves of people going in the water. But
I would like to shove the drilling people in the Serpentine right now. But
is it like
herding?
Good question. So with the mass events which I've done, so I've done organised events where we have 10,000 people, we've got 6,000 people, but it is very structured. So we have one of the main things is the safety aspect. We've got that many swimmers, you have to count everybody. We want to make sure that everyone goes in, you get out, and you count for them. So we've got quite a big sort of safety plan around the swimmers. So before they go over the chip mats, the start mats, we've got a separate check-in system where we check everyone's chip, we make sure they are who they say they are, and then they go into the start pen. Then after they do their swim, they get their time as they exit the water, but then we check them out individually. And once a wave is completed, we then do a manual check to make sure that the in, the outs, anybody's been pulled out by the medical team or dropped out. And then we do a little tally to make sure we've accounted for everybody. And so, you know,
must be crazy trying to.
It is, but once you've got this system in place, you know, it's all, everyone's got the laptops. And so once that's in place, then it works really well. But you have to have, for that sort of number, you know, you've got to make sure that you're happy with the way things are going to run.
Yeah, because safety especially would be of primary concern, right? You want to make sure everyone's in, you know, or accounted for, and
absolutely. And for another event, I had a company called Chill Swim, and I organised the length of Coniston, which is 5.25 miles, just end to end, and that had 750 people swimming the full length of the lake. And that was really, for a lot of people, their first long distance swim, a sort of proper swim where you're going from point to point. And 750 people swimming down the length of the lake. Again, for that one, everyone had to wear a tow float. So for the first year of the event in 2012, there was no tow floats in the UK. And so I introduced the tow floats in the UK to make sure that sounds terrible, but I just want to make sure that we got everybody out of the water again. There was no one went missing through the swim, you know. So I really pushed the use of tow floats. And at first, people were didn't really know what they were. They didn't want to use them. And now again, things have just changed so much. And using a tow float in the lakes around here, it's really common. Most people use them when they go for a swim. But for a mass event, again, for that particular event, that was the safety measure I wanted to put in place.
I mean, we have to have it. The authorities here require us to have the tow floats or safety buoys, as we call them now. And I mean, you don't notice that it's there once you're used to it. It's just not in the way. So, I mean, better to be safe than sorry.
Absolutely. And what I say to people here in the Lake District here, you can swim in any lake at any time, anywhere you want to. There's no restrictions at all. But I always try and say to swimmers, just because you can swim everywhere doesn't mean you should. You know, because there'll be some days on this lake where the yacht club have got a big regatta going on, so there's sailing boats all over the place. There's an old steamer, sort of a commercial boat, which goes up and down the lake, which takes tourists down the lake. And you don't want to be swimming across the lake in the middle of a busy weekend.
They can't see you either, can they?
They can't see you, and also, you know, it's not fair for them. You know, you can swim early in the morning, there'll be nobody on the lake. You can swim along the shoreline, and there'll be nobody there. But during the day, there's other boat users. You know, there's other people who try and enjoy the lake as well. So you don't want to be annoying. You don't want people to think, oh my God, those swimmers are a real pain in the ass. You know, you want people to think, you know, you want to share. Just because swimming is growing, you know, you want to be responsible as well. So you've got to use your common sense with this. So if you're all going to go swimming, sorry.
And not every lake will have safe areas that you can actually swim in. I mean, in terms of terrain and all that. So you should know where it's safe to swim, and then therefore you can do so. And see the weather as well, right?
You know, you avoid busy marinas. You don't go swimming across the lake when there's lots of boats around. You know, it's just, again, using your common sense. And most open water swimmers, you know, they do use their common sense. It's often, you know, I'm going to say it's often the triathletes. Let me just say it straight. So, you know, we get triathletes and they come up and they, you know, for them, it's just pure training. They don't really care about anything else. They don't look at the views. They don't enjoy the experience. And they'll just go swimming across the lake. And so, you know, it's just people kind of, you know, understanding where you're swimming in the particular country you're at. And absolutely common sense is the thing.
It's not as common as it should be. We have that. I mean, a lot of times it's like, oh, you know, it's water. I can swim in it. I'll just, whatever. But it's more than just that. I mean, especially if you swim in the sea, you got to see conditions, weather, like you said, shipping, and others, you know, you got to be sensible. Otherwise, they'll say, well, no swimmers, and then you're in trouble, right? And that's the end of that. So, shall we take a couple of questions from the audience?
So
Beverly's asking what motivated you to start doing open water swimming?
Okay, hi Beverly. So open water swimming, I think it's purely because, you know, pool swimming I still love, and I still, apart from at the moment because of lockdown and everything else over here, normally I swim in the pools most mornings. I really enjoy, having been a competitive swimmer, I still love swimming with other people in the club environments, in the lane swimming. But the freedom of open water swimming, once you do it, and you suddenly feel free, and you know, there's not that wall to turn on, there's not the chlorine, you don't have the restrictions of having to go at a certain time for your session. And so I love the freedom of open water swimming. I love being in nature. There's nothing like, for me, swimming along, I'm looking up the mountains, fresh air, it's incredible. And it's taken me to some amazing places. I've been lucky enough to swim all around the world, both with my work with FINA and also just myself going to different places. I've met some incredible people. So pool swimming is amazing, but open water swimming, I don't know, there's another level, there's another sort of community out there, and there's just a sense of being able to do these great challenges without competing, without racing, just going for a swim. I love that aspect of it. And also my children, I love taking them into the open water. And I took somebody from the Financial Times, which is sort of quite a big newspaper in the UK, and they were doing a big article on open water swimming and trying to get to the bottom of it about the mental well-being, about, you know, the health benefits. And at the end of the day, I said, you know what, open water swimming is like being a kid again. You know, you just feel young, you feel a little bit, I don't know, something a little bit risky, a little bit naughty about being in the lake sometimes. You know, you're jumping off the rocks, you're going for a beautiful swim around the shore. It's just, yeah, I think it's just, yeah, it's like being a kid. That's one of the reasons why I like it.
Well, it's like, because you're so free,
Yeah.
right? And it's just you and yourself, and you're outdoors, and you know, it's a lot more relaxing, I suppose. Obviously, if you're not racing, you're just swimming in general, and
Yeah.
it's just, you're just free. And
Yeah.
makes you happy, and then you have cake afterwards. Best part.
Okay, do I prefer to swim in fresh water or the sea? Lina?
Lini.
Lini. Hi, Lini.
Lini. Yeah.
That's a good question. Really, for me, fresh water. I think it's often where people grow up and where they swim mostly. So the fresh water for me is something I'm really used to. Whenever I go in the sea for a competition or for a swim, it always feels really strange having that salt water. And also I find I chafe a lot more in the sea, so I've got to put a lot more sort of Vaseline on. When I do the long swims, my tongue tends to swell up a little bit. If I'm in the water for sort of 10 hours in the salt water, with the fresh water, you just don't get that. Now, obviously, the sea's got its benefits. You're a little bit more buoyant in the water. So it's a little bit easier for swimming in the sea. But no, for me, I like the fresh water. So I'm a freshwater person by heart.
Well, we don't really have lakes that we would normally swim in here.
Right.
So that's. I've been to the Lake District many years ago. Yes, and there's salmon. Sashimi. I won't say how many years ago I went there. And the only time I've swum in a lake is it Lake in Scotland?
Loch Lomond.
Yeah.
Lomond? Yeah.
Yeah, I swam in that, and it was so cold.
Yeah, well,
I can't remember when it was. Because we were on holiday in the UK. I was studying in the UK for a period, and then we went up, did Scotland and all that. So we said, okay, like, just, you know, you put your feet in there, you're like, oh my god. And this is the summer. Okay. Yeah. So, but once you start swimming, you kind of acclimatize, and it's fine. But it's that initial, you know, when you walk in. I mean, it was lovely. You know, it's clear enough, and it was lovely, but just that walking in part is it was quite clear actually.
Yeah. Well, just side note, 2 years ago I organised the European Open Water Swimming Championships in Loch Lomond. So again, I was the technical manager for that event, and so we had all the elites in there when they were doing the 5k, 10k, 25k. So for the elites, it's pretty fresh for those guys, you know, because most of them have got no body fats. A lot of them are very slim. And we were very concerned about the water temperature. We're lucky we had a good summer, so it was over 16 degrees, so that was good. How clean are the waters over there? Since the big industries, a lot of the big industries are now gone from the UK, and the waters themselves, the lakes up here are very clean. I do water quality testing myself. I send the water off regularly to a lab to make sure that we have good quality here. But no, we're EU bathing standards, most of the bodies of water, especially further north. Obviously around big cities, it can be a bit different. But generally even the Serpentine, which is in the heart of London, that meets EU bathing standards. We do get a little bit of blue-green algae. If you ever seen a pond that has the green stuff on top, so occasionally you get algae in the waters here, but that's not that common. Some of the rivers, you know, some of the factories can be a bit naughty at times, and they put things in the river they shouldn't put in. But the environment, we have an environment agency, and they sort of monitor a lot of the waters. So everything is getting cleaner. I think that's directly proportional to the increase in open water swimming. So I think the cleaner the waters are, the more people will come and try open water swimming. And so here in the Lake District, we've got no problem at all in the lakes. I mean, if there's a big storm and we have lots and lots of rain, I'll tend to stay out of the water for a day, just because, you know, if there's big floods, then all that
debris as well, and everything
there's just stuff coming in the lakes from the fields, all the farmers' fields, and from the road, then it gets washed into the lake. And so it just takes a day or so for that to sort of settle down. But otherwise, no, it's pretty good over here, very good water conditions.
We need to get you to come out here and swim too.
I would
in the
love
tropics.
to come over there. Yes. I mean, I don't know if, I mean, you might have seen my YouTube channel.
I've been following. Sorry?
I was just saying I've got a YouTube channel called Colin Hill Swims, and on there I've got nice videos from all over the world, different events I've been to, different swims, and so yeah, I would love to come across and.
Yes, we must get to do the. You know, we would mention to you the Perhentian swim where I did a few of us did the solo 16 km swim around the island, and it's beautiful, beautiful. It is the equivalent of. Sorry?
What is the water temperature for that?
20 something?
Cool.
I don't know.
Right.
Because compared to the outside, it's really nice.
Yeah.
There, that's your Colin Hill Swims YouTube channel. I'd subscribed to it already for some time.
Cool.
And you can take a look. We'll put the links up later as well for everyone to follow, and please subscribe to Colin's YouTube channel. I think it's in the 20 somethings, because I don't really think about the temperature of the water, because I mean, like I said, compared to the outside, it's good, because it's really hot on the outside. And you know, I mean, we start off just after dawn or so. I am being generous. It's very hot outside, and so but by the time you, like you said, the same, you acclimatize, you get into the rhythm, and then you get to sections of the sea which is much, much deeper, so obviously that's so much cooler. And it's beautiful. I mean, you see coral, fish, turtles from time to time.
Nice.
It's rare we see whale sharks on that side. They did come by one year, but they've been seen in other similar sort of area, but not that particular island. So I'm still hopeful that one year the swims and we'll see a whale shark, and we'll get to, because I mean that's part of the beauty of open water swimming, because like you said, you're being in nature, and then you can see, right, all the amazing things.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good time to be alive, as they say. Ignoring the whole COVID thing, but while you're swimming in the sea, it's a different mindset. Yeah, we've had issues like rivers, and that's why lakes and our factories are not so compliant as they should be.
So I'm just going to open the window here just to try and get a bit cooler. One sec.
Okay. Behind Colin is his endless pool. And isn't it? Yeah, that's the endless pool which a lot of folks use for training.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us about your endless pool?
Yeah, so the endless pool, it's, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. That's where I've got the machine in there and the flow goes against the swimmers. What I have with this one, I've got a couple of underwater cameras, and then I've got a TV screen at the end of the pool. So I get people coming in just to practice with their technique work. And so literally they can stop their swimming straight away. They can look up at the camera, so the TV screen, and I can show them exactly what they're doing with their hands, to see if they're getting the catch right and their pull. And so it's really useful. It's like a nice little MOT for people to come and just see what their stroke is doing. Because, you know, from the pool side, you can pick up on quite a few things, but often if you're coaching a squad, you tend to, you know, give general advice to people, or tell this, you know, the team to think about a certain thing. Where in here, I get a chance just to really break people's stroke down, and also how people think they're swimming isn't always how they actually swim. Certainly for myself, I mean, I spend a lot of time traveling on the FINA circuit. I do all the social media with the elites on a lot of the races. And so I'm watching the world's best swimmers, and in my head I start to think that's how I swim. And so it's always a bit of a wake-up call when you see yourself, and you do a little video of yourself underwater.
Maybe not, yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
still, it just feels like, oh, I got to do the whole thing. And
Yeah.
I love that photo you took. You were sharing it, I think it was yesterday or a couple of days ago, about the two elite.
Yes, it was Ferry
I can never pronounce their names, but
yeah, Ferry Vertman. He is the Olympic champion from the Netherlands. Ferry is an amazing swimmer. You know, he's European champion as well. When you see him, so he's now world, European, and he's Olympic champion currently. And when you see him swimming, he is just a powerhouse. He's got a really long stroke, often half the stroke rate of the other swimmers in the elite race. And then the other one is Krzysztof Rosowski, and Krzysztof is from Hungary. He's 5K European champion. He's a very fast finisher. Again, amazing swimmer. He's quite young, so he really likes to take on the race quite a lot of the time. But they also like to have a bit of fun, those guys. They've got great personalities, which is what the sport needs. And so what they do is they let all the swimmers dive off the start. And for a 10K open water event, the start at that level isn't that important. You know, one of the main things is you don't need goggles to come off, and you want to be the pack's there. So there can be sometimes 50 guys all swimming, so the pack is huge. So what they do is everyone dives in. Then, yeah, Krzysztof has done a somersault.
that's the photo.
At the start, yeah. So for that one, they let everyone go, and I was on the start line videoing the start, and then they literally did a synchronized sort of dive, start looking at each other. So that's very closest to us, and that's Krzysztof in the background. And Ferry went on to win the race, even though that was his start. But so I think it's great. You know, I know it's sort of, for the technical officials, it's a bit of a headache for them. They're sort of a little bit worried about stuff like that, but you know, they make sure that everyone's gone nice and safe, and then they do a nice little performance. And as I said, you know, it's for the elites. They're on the circuit. They're traveling around the world the whole time. They do an incredible amount of training, and yeah, that's just the final call room. So yeah, so it's quite fun. For what I'm doing when I'm on these events is I'm just making sure that people get to hear about the races. You know, all of these events have got official photographers and professional, you know, film crew. But for FINA, I just throw up photographs. I film the finish with my sort of GoPro. I get that straight onto Facebook for FINA, onto, you know, Twitter for FINA. And so that way people get to see straight away, you know, what's going on in the race, rather than wait for the official. You know, the footage to come through. So yeah, it's really good fun, and it's nice for me because I get to interview the elites a lot, see them train, see them race and compete, and you know, I think what they do is just absolutely incredible. So I really want to try and, you know, get their personalities across the times, and just show some of these incredible races, you know, because 10 kilometers, if you're not aware of what's going on during the race, it's quite a, you know, it's obviously quite a flat sport. You can't see that much if you don't know what you're looking for. If you understand what's going on, it is fascinating. You know, again, Ferry Verdman, he can be right at the back of a 60-pack group for the first couple of laps, just keeping out of trouble. But then if Christoph at the front works out where Ferry is, he might decide to take the pace on and try and pick things up to make it harder for Ferry to come back. And now you've got Gregorio Paltrini, you know, Italian 1500-meter champion. He's competing in quite a few 10K races now. And so he's still not won that many of the 10Ks. So although he's obviously on paper the fastest swimmer, it just shows the tactics involved and when to go to the front and, you know, when you're going to make
the
your
experience, right? That and strategy that you probably have to learn as you.
It is, you know, and you get some of the swimmers who, you know, they can sit in the pack and they cover the brakes or they decide not to. And you get some people who come along and they just, you know, you get a new swimmer suddenly transfer from the pool to the open water and they sort of take on the old guard, and that's fascinating to watch. You know, so I just love being involved with that.
I mean, that's the evolution of how the sport should be, right? That just keep progressing and changing, and it's amazing. I can't imagine swimming the 25K though.
No, that's just that photograph there. You just saw that photograph there. That was a very early morning start. That's where I was guiding somebody who's doing their 6-hour qualifying swim for the Channel. That was just a week ago, I think, or 2 weeks ago. And he had to swim 6 hours without a wetsuit. It was under 16 degrees. It was sort of about, I think it was 15 when he did that. And we just had to wait for the mist to rise in the morning. It was thick fog when we arrived, so we just had to sit and wait for the mist to arrive. And then we got on the water, and the mist just started to rise and go through the trees. It was magical. But yeah, 25K. I mean, I've done a few 25K races myself, and you know, I did a 25K race in Madeira from the main island across the Desertus Island, which was just beautiful. So yeah, I mean, 25Ks. It's like anything. Once you set your mind to a certain distance, then that's what you'll swim. If you're swimming a mile in the water, it's hard work and you're exhausted by the end. If you swim 10K, it's hard work and you're exhausted. It's whatever you set yourself. You know, I really believe you can just achieve whatever you set your mind to.
It's one of the bucket list swims to do at 25.
Yeah,
nobody quote me on this, by the way, at the moment. I got to train for that one, but you'll find a race to swim 25. It's the funny thing is that, oh yes, happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you very much. 50, that's scary landmark to reach.
No, you're still young.
Oh my words.
It's fine. It's masters. You see, when we are masters, it doesn't really matter. Right?
Exactly, yeah. That's another age group that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's my little girl,
sometimes,
just watching me there. So just before I went for my birthday swim.
Yeah, I saw that on I think I saw that on Facebook. But I mean, your kids swim open water with you?
Yeah, they have to. I'm sure they'll get counselling later on in life. But yeah, my little girl at the moment, she loves going down and jumping off the jetty we have just down at the lake. So often I come back from a day of coaching and being on the lake, and then she wants to go down to the lake and jump in. So it's beautiful. Yeah. Kind of compulsory for them.
How old are they?
Well, my youngest, she's 6 years old, but I've got 5 children in total. So my oldest now, she's just been to Berlin University, and you know, she loved it over there. She stopped swimming a few years ago as much, and she took up rowing. She quite likes the rowing. You know, but swimming gives you a great base for any sport as you get older. So, yeah. Because I've got 5 children, my goal is when my small ones are old enough that we can do a 6-person relay. So myself and my 5 children. That'll be good. So that's the only reason why I had 5 children. It was purely for that reason.
Yes, not the whole football team thing, but you know,
that's right. Yeah, the channel relay. Yeah.
Does your partner swim with you as well, or?
Well, that's funny. We, yeah. So when we first met, I remember she was with Serpentine Swimming Club, and I met her in the offices, and she was walking around with this big trophy from Serpentine Swimming Club. and I thought, wow, this beautiful lady, she's a swimmer, and this is amazing. But I didn't realize that the serpentines races, they're handicap races. So the slowest one goes first, and they're generally rigged, so they know they know who's going to win the next race, and they let them get a good handicap time. So she does swim, but she's sort of breaststroke with a really dodgy breaststroke kick, and she's
so you have to like
she's kicked me a few times and it really hurts when that dodgy neck is coming out. So yeah, she likes to go for it, but yeah, she's more of a sort of recreation swimmer than a hardcore long distance swimmer.
Well, I mean, it'd be quite fun, and you could have a seven or 8 person relay that.
Yeah, she doesn't fancy.
She'll just get everyone to get out of your way with her powerful breaststroke kick, right?
That's right, absolutely.
Clear the way for everyone else.
Yeah.
Let's see if we have any other comments. Mr. So, you know Mr. So, he has said hello.
Hello. So just asked about Doctor Who there. So there's a question just came up about Doctor Who. Did you see that?
The TARDIS?
Can you watch Doctor Who while swimming in the pool? Good question, you see. So Doctor Who, do you know what Doctor Who is over there?
Yes.
Okay, well, I have a full-size Dalek in my office.
Wow.
I'm a massive science fiction geek. So yeah, I love my sci-fi stuff. So yeah, so Doctor Who, I love Doctor Who. And so well spotted. And,
are you a Terry Pratchett fan as well?
Of course, Terry Pratchett. I've got some great signed books by Terry Pratchett.
Wow.
I thought I've been blessed him. He was amazing, and so yeah, I've got pretty much all the collection, and yeah, quite a few. I went to see him a few Comic Cons, had a few books signed by him. Well, my daughter's called Coraline, which is from Neil Gaiman, and Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman wrote Good Omens together.
Yes.
So that's
did you watch the series?
I did, and funnily enough, just recently I was involved in there was a big charity swim, and there's some celebrities had to do 3 triathlons in 3 days, and they were radio stars over in the UK here. Joe Wiley was the main headline, and I had to go down and train them up for open water swimming and go with them during their sort of televised challenge to make sure they were okay. It was very cold water. So I get involved with TV stuff quite a bit. And during that swim, they had some celebrities join them. And we actually had one of the stars of Good Omens, Michael Sheen. I came out of the change room, I came out of the cold water, walked in the change room, and Michael Sheen, Good Omens, was there, which was quite surreal. So
it must be like, wow.
That's pretty cool.
Who is your favorite Terry Pratchett character?
Well,
it's not a test. It's not a test in any way.
Everyone loves Death. I mean, Death is amazing.
Oh.
So Mort, I think Mort is one of my favorites. Yeah, so.
I like the witches.
Carrot. There's a Carrot, Sergeant Carrot.
Captain Carrot.
Captain Carrot. Yeah.
Although I think he's upgraded himself. Do you see I have Atuin. I had a friend of mine is a crafter, and she makes all these. So I had for my birthday,
Discworld.
He made Atuin and the 4 elephants on Discworld.
That's amazing.
Oh, I love it.
If you go onto my YouTube channel as well, you'll see I have a video from May the 4th. I did a little Star Wars video with my wife and my child to celebrate May the 4th. So it's a swimming May the 4th video. So I'm very proud of that. We had a great
I got to
time
share that one.
Putting that together. So yeah, so May the 4th swimming video. That was good.
Who's your favorite Doctor Who? Now this will be a test.
This is from the new series. I got to say, Christopher Eccleston.
Okay.
I thought he was a very serious actor who had to play it funny when he needed to, where some of the other actors are sort of quite funny and they have to play it serious. So Christopher Eccleston, I loved the gravitas he brought to it. Shame he didn't stick around a bit longer. And
I mean, a very short-lived run, right?
He was one and out, yeah, which was a shame. And from the old one, yeah, I mean, I'm a Tom Baker. I was the right age for Tom Baker, so yeah, that's my story.
That's the video. Oh, that's so cool.
It's
We'll
really
share
good.
that. We'll definitely have to share that link
It's the
on
Jedi
our
coming out of the water.
page later. That's so cool.
Yeah, so that's really cool. I really enjoy doing that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've got to share that video later on.
Yeah.
We have a lot of geeky, nerdy people out there.
Very good.
And it's
Yes.
awesome. I mean, I love, Granny Weatherwax.
Of course.
She's cool, and Susan. I do love Susan.
And when Granny died in one of the last ones, didn't she? I was really upset.
The last one of the Tiffany Aching series.
Because Tiffany Aching's
Oh,
great.
it was so hard to read that. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know whether I wanted to read that because
I know.
I take inspiration from Granny and her
Yes.
her headology because I think that's
Yeah.
very useful as a coach and in general. But Susan is also another one, the granddaughter of death.
Yes.
She was. Oh, he did write very strong female characters for us.
He did indeed.
And,
Yes. Yeah.
His daughter, have you seen the? We're going to be talking about this forever. You realize that
Right.
we'll start and then we're not talking about swimming anymore. Oh, this will never. We'll have to have a new. Yes. Susan.
So when I'm doing my long swims and things, the books I'm reading now, I'm just going through all the Expanse series. So I don't know if you know the Expanse books. It's on Amazon as well at the moment. That's a great sort of science fiction opera. So I'm just reading all those. So I'm doing Audible. I'm on book 7 at the moment. So yeah, so swimming and sci-fi. I'm happy with those.
We will. I know you've got a limited amount of time. So once we start talking about Star Wars and Terry Pratchett and Doctor Who, that's it. We'll be here for the next 3 hours.
As soon as this finishes, I've got to run down. I have to get my boat ready. I've got a rib boat, and then I'm getting all the equipment ready for the clients. And this morning is where we go up the lake, and this is where we're going to do a nice swim along the shoreline. But it is quite wet today and quite cold, so I'll have to make sure we have all the dry robes ready to put on when they get out of the water.
Oh, and the carrot cake, right?
And the carrot cake, absolutely.
And the carrot cake.
Yes.
Yes. So, do we have a couple of? Hang on. Oh, unfortunately, the drilling is driving me crazy. How much longer do you have? Maybe 5?
Yeah, it's sort of 8 o'clock now, so I need to sort of get going pretty soon. So.
Okay. So we started on the science fiction part, and that was it. Completely lost track of. Well, luckily I remembered the time because it'd be like, never ending.
But no, I think so. So just to sort of summarize from my side is, I think FINA is the FINA World Series. I'm really looking forward to that coming back next year. Fingers crossed. It's been so hard for the elites. It's the Olympics not happening. And all the 10K series stopping. We did one race in Doha, and that was it. So I really hope that the FINA World Series comes back, because all these elites, they need to get out there and do their job. That's what they do. So I'm looking forward to getting back on the circuit there again. Winter's coming here, so looking forward to get back into the cold water as well.
Yeah, I've been watching, because I follow some of the on Instagram and that. What's her name? Anna Marcella
Cunha.
Yeah. Oh, she's amazing.
Yeah.
She's one
of my
favorites to watch.
She's always great to watch. She's pretty much always top 3. Doesn't matter, because all these races are different. The water temperature's different. Occasionally they're wetsuit races. Conditions, they're in salt water, fresh water. The packs, there's different swimmers coming in, different events, and yet. You've got Anna Marcella, you've got Rudy and Bruni from Italy, you've got Sharon van Rongendaal from the Netherlands, and these swimmers, all these different races, they're up there, they're always in the top, the top 5, and it's such a hard thing to stay at that level. The amount of distance and training they have to do to compete, it's incredible. And Anna Marcella, I hope that she does well at the Olympics. She's really sort of going
She's worked so hard.
Yeah, and also Rudy qualified, Bruni didn't. So Bruni qualified, Rudy didn't, from the Italians. So I hope that brilliant as well from the Italians. But it's just, yeah, it's tough. The Olympics only has 25 swimmers, and after the World Championships, you can only qualify 2 from the same country at the World Championships, and after that, there's going to be 1 from each country can go. So it's really tough because some of these countries, Germany, France, they've got big squads of really talented swimmers. And it could have been that 5 could have been good enough to qualify. Yet they can't. It's only sort of the 1 or 2. So it's so the Olympics. It's tough, and everyone who qualifies for that, that's their big chance.
Yeah, scrambling to get there, right?
Let's hope the Olympic event happens as well. So from me being helping organise London, I was out in Rio. I just hope that Japan can pull it off, because it's tough for a massive organisation to kind of
right? Yeah.
To sort of keep everyone employed,
interested and motivated to keep. Yeah.
But just the organisational side, just trying to keep things going, and the amount of money it's costing the Japanese Federation and the governments, and so let's just hope that things improve and that all these swimmers can get back out there. I'm looking forward to being able to travel again and hopefully get out to see myself.
Come visit us, yes.
Yeah.
Swim with us.
Yeah.
I remember World Championships. I watched them swim the 10K, and then they swam the 25K. I think it was a day or 2 later, and I was like, wow.
I know.
And then there was the beginning of the typhoon. I think it was midway, and because we were watching the live stream, and we're like,
yeah, it's amazing. But thank you very much for having me. This has been wonderful.
And we should have you on again, and then we'll talk more about science fiction, hopefully.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, Def.
Okay, thank you very much.
Take care. Thank you. And
nice picture, everyone. Okay.
Quick shout out to my sponsors, Finis Malaysia and Swimshop to You and Real Art Play. 10% off if you use the code Dugongs on Swimshop to You. And I'll share Colin's YouTube channel on our page, and that's it, folks. We'll see you next week at the usual time of 3. Bye.
Okay, take care.